Hey guys, today we're driving the new 2022 Chevrolet Bolt EV. This is a 2LT model, and for the 23 model year, Chevrolet has lowered the prices on all Chevy Bolts. This now starts at $26,500 with destination for the 1LT, or just under 30 grand at $29,700 for the 2LT package, which is what we have here. Pretty competitive pricing. This gets 259 miles on a full charge. It has about 200 horsepower, 266 pound-feet of torque. It's front-wheel drive only, so no all-wheel drive dual motor option. But for most people, this is about all the EV you could need, and for under 30 grand, pretty compelling price. Let's walk you around this new Chevy Bolt EV. We'll show you what it looks like inside and out. We'll take it for a drive and give you guys some thoughts on what it's been like to live with this week. As you can see, we've got a new front end, different styling here. We still get these eco-focused 17-inch tires, 215/50 R17s. They just squeal away. Inside, this mostly feels like the previous generation Chevy Bolt, but of course with some updates to the infotainment, seats, interior, etc. Let's take a look in the rear hatch. We have a nice low loading floor here, and you can rearrange this cargo bin cover here to basically match the seat height of these, the second row folded down. You also get a cargo cover, which I don't have installed right now, but you can mount that right here, and that'll keep prying eyes from seeing what you have in the back. Nice wide hatchback opening, plenty of room in here to fit bikes, stuff, pretty much anything you could need in this hatchback. Pretty lightweight for an electric vehicle too. Only comes in at a little over 3,500 pounds. This is not the Bolt EUV, which is slightly longer than the Bolt EV. We'll test one of those later this year, but we still get a decent amount of legroom in the rear. I'm 5'10", sat behind myself. I'm pretty comfortable in here. Plenty of headroom, no rear climate vents, but overall a pretty attractive interior. They've gone a little bit more mainstream with this new Bolt. We have more familiar switches, controls, knobs, shift buttons instead of the weird, wonky electronic shifter that we had before. Super easy ingress and egress in this Bolt. As you can see, we also have a completely flat floor for the rear passengers. There's no frunk in this Bolt, unfortunately, but there's plenty of room everywhere else to put stuff. You can see we've got this new front end, new headlights, new kind of a grille. Looks pretty good in my opinion. Here's the charge port. You can charge this with a level 2 charger in your garage, 240 volt, in about 7 to 7.5 hours. I believe DC fast charging on this is still only about 50 kilowatts, so that means you can charge about 100 miles in around 30 minutes at a DC fast charging station. Pretty good looking rear end too. New taillights, Bolt EV badging, lots of black plastic on the lower sides of the car where you'll see a little bit more impact from road debris, so that's a good thing. Easy to clean. All right, let's hop inside. We'll start this up, walk you around the front seats a little bit, and we'll take it for a drive. Everything starts up pretty quickly. We have wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. Screen seems pretty nice and responsive. Still a little bit low contrast like we see in a lot of GM screens, but we do get a home button and a redundant control here for making selections. Though as a touchscreen, this seems to work pretty well. Falls to hand nicely. No major complaints there. Physical controls for our climate. We have our fan speed adjustment, temperature, heated seat controls, and in this 2LT you get a heated steering wheel, which is great. Push button shifter down here. Nice looking reverse and 360 cams as well. Down here, this is your button for one pedal drive, which we've mostly left on this week. And there's also a button behind the steering wheel, this little paddle that will bring you down from speed and give you max regenerative braking, which I think is pretty neat. Flat bottom steering wheel, very simple controls all throughout, lots of physical buttons. This just feels like a normal car that happens to be electric. Whereas the first generation Bolt, when that came out, that felt a little bit on the funky side. We get a sport mode and just a normal mode. Turn off traction control. This also has lane keep assist. A little bit of storage here in the center console, some cup holders, space in the doors for water bottles, etc. Over to the left here, we have controls for our headlights and our display dimmer switch. No memory seats or anything like that. We have a power driver's seat, and passenger seat is all mechanical. All right, let's head out and see how this Bolt drives on the road. Good visibility all the way around. We have one pedal drive enabled. It's a really neat view out of the front end. Great forward visibility. These little side windows make this A-pillar seem a little bit smaller than it is. Smooth power delivery. This Bolt has always been a little bit quicker than you might expect. One pedal drive has a nice amount of regenerative braking to it. And traction does a pretty good job, or at least traction control does a pretty good job keeping wheel spin in check. These are super loud eco-focus tires. Once you get them spinning or squealing, they just complain to the heavens. As you can hear right there. Honestly, from behind the wheel, this feels exactly like the previous generation Bolt. I think after 2019 or so, they softened the suspension, and this rides great now. When the Bolt first came out in 2017, it was a bit too stiff, and this feels pretty good. Coming down from speed here, off throttle. Had to dip into the brake pedal just a little bit. Brake pedal feels pretty natural, no complaints there. Nothing really out of the ordinary to comment on. This is a great car to just fly around in, make local errands, drive in the city. Has a decent amount of highway range. But it's small, easy to place, nimble, agile. These tires really hold it back from a performance perspective, but kind of fun to drive. There's a Bolt EUV for comparison. A little bit different rear end. Boy, what are the odds? Quite a coincidence. Put this into sport mode. The EUV is still a pretty small vehicle, but it's just slightly longer than this Bolt EV. Not by much, a few inches. Road noise, wind noise, NVH on the highway sounds pretty good. This definitely feels like a sub $30,000 car, but at least now, finally, it is. Power is great on the highway. I believe you're electronically limited to something like 92 or 93 miles per hour. Do get adaptive cruise control, which works pretty well. We'll test that on the way back. A very easy car to drive and live with. Again, if you want a little bit more regen, you can hold that left paddle on the steering wheel. Another view of the Bolt EUV. No major complaints about this Bolt after spending some time with it this week. Kind of hard to complain about it now that the price is so low, and we may even see some federal tax credits next year. Not really sure where we're going to stand with vehicles with all the new rules and regulations and stipulations with that new credit, but you may even be able to get this for less than 20 grand next year with the federal tax credit if you qualify, and if this car qualifies. The turn signal sounds and feels a little bit cheap. Steering is light. The interior smells a little bit funky here. A lot of the degassing plastics. That new car smell isn't the most enticing in this new Bolt. But again, those scents dissipate over time as the degassing occurs. A little bit of highway passing here. Plenty of acceleration up to speed. Easy gap adjust here with adaptive cruise control. You can skip 5 mile/hour increments very easily with the button on the steering wheel. You can set cruise to a maximum speed of 89 miles per hour. That's all you get. Seems to do a pretty good job regulating speed, adjusting to traffic. All of the options on these Bolts seem to be reasonably priced as well. I believe adaptive cruise is only a few $100. This also has the Bose sound system. Let's test that out real quick, see what it sounds like. We get a volume knob right here. Volume and track selection controls behind the steering wheel. Price point, this Bose doesn't sound bad. Nice. All right, guys, so some final thoughts on the Chevy Bolt EV. I really like this electric car. I think this has always been a fantastic offering in the market, and it's made even more attractive with the new pricing released for the 2023 model year. You can get some great deals on these cars. As just a basic A to B electric vehicle, this really hits all the marks. It has a good amount of range, great amount of interior volume. It's very practical. It feels lightweight. It's kind of fun to drive. As just basic transportation, this is one of my favorite electric vehicles on the road. Not necessarily a car that I'd want to take on road trips. Fast charging in this leaves a little bit to be desired. But, I don't know, overall I think this is a really nice package. If you want to go a little bit more high-end, you want a little bit more space, a little bit slightly bigger vehicle, the Bolt EUV is an option. But as far as the best value, I think this 2LT makes the most sense. You get a nice Bose sound system. And if you don't really care about some of the options on this 2LT, the 1LT will save you even more money with pricing coming in at just over 26 grand. I think if I were going to put an electric vehicle in my garage these days, this would be one of the top contenders. All right, guys, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. Looks like we're going to park next to a previous generation Bolt. Again, I don't plan this stuff out. This is great. Cool. One of the easiest cars to get in and out of. This floor here is so low. Nice opening with the door. You can compare the front end restyling here with this refresh. Just small changes, nothing major, different tail lights. Okay, cool. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you later. Take care.